Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have back our poet. Boy, I don't know how to describe him, but you know, when you watch, he is very, very good at reading his poetry that he writes. We have James Nicola back with us. Welcome back, James.
Thank you so much, Jan.
And it's, you know what, at this time of the day, it's dark out. 4:30?
Looking forward to March, just counting up.
Oh, I know.
I don't mind the cold, but the light, I miss the light.
I hate the cold.
Yeah.
I can't wait for spring and summer.
Yeah.
His latest, is Tower of Babel. First of all, where did you get that name?
Well, it was a poem in one of my other collections, Out of Nothing, Poems of Art and Artists.
Okay.
And Tower of Babel is a painting by Bruegel of the alleged tower from the Old Testament. Babel, you know, that humankind builds it too high and then somebody
They're all
destroys it.
falling out, right?
So this is, right, and so it's destroyed, and then Yahweh makes all the humans talk in different languages as sort of punishment for trying to reach heaven with a tall tower. So there's a picture of Bruegel, and I have which I've read before, and the one about Out of Nothing, the Tower of Babel. So I decided, don't do the title poem. You guys can, which is not called Tower of Babel, it's called Tower.
Yeah.
But so these, it seemed like a fabulous metaphor for these, which are, a possible subtitle had been apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic poems.
Yeah.
So hence Tower of Babel is a metaphor for okay mankind, okay human society.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Good thinking. Now, what I'm going to do is read the dedication. That really got me. We've got two different workbooks we're going from right here, so just bear with us. Tower of Babel, coming up in February with the other book too, so hang on. Dedication to this. To the inquisitive and incisive, who look at the waxing past with clarity and say what really was. To the indomitable and insightful, who look at the turbulent present with honesty and see what really is. And to the inveterate and inspiring, who look to the waning future with bravery and the hope that can vanquish dread and the love that might save us all. That is beautiful. Okay, look at this. This will be in book form. He sent me, I don't know, what do you call it?
The galleys, but that's just a computer printout.
Yeah.
But when the publisher sends it to mine, it's called galleys, even though it's a computer printout.
Okay, so it's a little different than
right,
mine.
Slightly, right. This is the
right.
font that the book is going to have.
I told him I've got a few favorites on here. You read whatever you want, but one of the first ones is analysis.
Right.
Say that one twice. Okay.
Yeah. So the beginning of the book, it's as if the book could be divided in three parts about the arrival, or the advent, arrival, and then after of what? The end of the world, apocalypse, Armageddon, or just science fiction Twilight Zone era coming because of, you know. So this is early in the book, page 6, analysis. When listening to was turned into a specialty requiring an expert with degrees or an office with a couch, it was only a matter of time before talking followed suit, and then thinking. When I run into a natural person now and then, share a cup of coffee or a park bench or a stroll, who'll start me thinking, why isn't this one talking to more people? I sure listen. But the good tend to live and let live, while the others tend to shout and rant their twisted analyses to make them trends. And the poet gets to notice only that the way the world spins is around and down, like melted opals through a thirsty drain, which burps as it drinks to make room for other good poets to fill the basin over and over again and again.
Hey, I like that one. I think that's pretty cool. When did you write that one?
That was quite some years ago, when it got published in some journal a while ago, and I don't know what I was thinking of, except all of this stuff. What happens is, as I just was be writing every day, I would realize themes would come, and so talking about what's going on in the world and maybe this way instead of that way, and I'll think about things like that and write.
So that's how that basically came.
Yeah.
There's another one called, it's page 7, From the Sideline.
Yeah, and this is...
It's about your mom, right?
No, the driver, the back seat is
Okay,
that one.
this is
about if you've ever run into someone, maybe at a bar, having a drink, maybe at a diner, when you're sharing the counter, who will talk and can fix all the problems of the world, and sometimes you listen and you go, maybe they can, or sometimes you think you can. All they got to do is this, From the Sideline.
Okay.
This guy that I know, if you knew him, you'd know that he could fix everything, all the problems of the world. They start with people, see, and point of view and lack of love. But the reason he knows is because he's wicked smart, as we used to say in Massachusetts, and therefore knows that no one wants to hear. Oh, he tried for a while, passionately, with an eye on success. He got my ear, for instance, but I am no one, you know, which everyone is when we go to his bar, and no one listens. The loud ones on TV and radio and in the papers and in the square, compared to him, have their heads up there, you know where. Anyone who's ever had a drink in his bar knows it. But what can we do? The more crap you hear, the more it starts sounding like the way the world is or is supposed to be. He'll remind you how they repeated themselves, hammering in all that hate in Nazi Germany, fascist Italy, the American South, America today. But friend, the crap of which I'm full, I like. Some call it hope, others naivete, but I can't help myself. So come to the bar with me, and we can listen to this guy and hear how all the problems of the world could be solved if only everyone would listen with naivete or hope or common sense to my wicked, smart friend. At least let me buy you a drink.
That is so fun. Did you actually meet someone like this?
Oh, several. I've met people like that in my life. Yeah.
But was he soused or was he...
It sounded sharp as a tack. And oh my God, if people only did that, that would fix that. People only did that, that would fix that. There's a lot of common sense out there, but who can distill it? And if only everyone worked to try to really help people and make the world better instead of for political ends or for a viewpoint that gets backers or voters or whatever.
Sure.
But no, what do we really need? That's a tough one.
Briefly, if you haven't ever watched it, if you're new to watching the show, James Nicola is a poet who has been on with us for, how many years have you been coming on?
Since 2014 or 15, yeah, but once for each book, so this will be the 7th. This is the 7th
And
time.
then you've got the 8th one coming too.
It's coming up. Yeah, this is called Tower of Babel.
Yep.
The publisher is Hiraeth Publishing, Hiraeth. The next one coming up is published in Massachusetts by Cervena Barva Press of Somerville, and it's called Natural Tendencies, and that'll be coming out soon thereafter. That is also in galleys, so it's at
How
the
can they
publisher.
get a hold of these right now, or do they have to wait?
One's got to wait. One can look up those publishers,
Okay.
and as soon as they do pre-orders, you can do a pre-order.
How many poems do you, my God, there's so many. In 1 year, how many do you put out?
Not as many as I used to, but for many years I was writing one a day. For many years. Now I rewrite and rewrite and rewrite, which is what Whitman did later. He reissued Leaves of Grass many times and kept working on that stuff over and over. But I did write a new one this morning. A new draft in my
Another
journal.
one?
Yeah, a new one. It's just the first draft. I got to tweak it and whatever. But when something burns that I can't not write, then I write something new.
What is this thing? My mother used to tell me, you have a bee in your bonnet, you better go do it.
Oh yeah. When the bug is bitten, you're filled with bug juice. You're not going to sleep till you write that part.
I would be miserable if I didn't, and she knew it.
Yeah.
I would get physically sick. It was really weird. Now, let's see. Now, where's the other one? Okay, this is about your mom.
The back seat one,
All
right. And I wrote down that page number in my 61 for me, yeah.
58 for me.
Well, it was inspired by my mom.
Yeah.
But it's really a mystical or metaphysical meaning. There's a miraculous thing that can't quite happen backseat. And it's a metaphor a little bit, but was inspired by my mom, who was a backseat driver.
Was she the back seat when you were driving, or were you in the back seat?
Well, you're going to find out. I think I'm driving. The narrator is driving.
You're driving,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. I got to
right.
make sure it's not 2 pages.
No, it's
It's 1 page. Okay.
Yeah,
then
sure.
1 page. The others is the end of the poem. Is the word the others?
the end of the poem is as the world.
Oh yeah, I got to find page 62.
Now he's writing from his,
Yeah.
and I've got mine that he mailed to me. We'll have it in book form coming up in a couple of
It's
months.
going to be in a real book that with the pages easy to turn. Yeah, those are just my. Oh goodness gracious!
You want me to read it?
Oh, that would be lovely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Backseat by our buddy James Nicola. I start in a sweat, alert and terrified as life in a back seat. Of course I holler. Have I woken from a dream, or have I woken from a sleep into a dream? The distinction seems irrelevant. The urgency is clear. I tap the driver's shoulder to point out the way. She doesn't respond. I poke. I shout, "Turn here!" And then we veer across the line. Her head droops, and we race forward. I brace myself and yell, "Ma! Ma!" My mother's eyes have been a hot topic of late. The cataracts, the blindness. I saw her drive from the front seat the other day and trembled. But then I see in the rearview mirror that it is not she driving, but the mother of all dozing, half the world crammed in the back with me, riding ignorant as death. While in the passenger seat in front, the rest of the world huddles. They are the more educated ones, or the richer, or the more mature, and sit coolly as well, naive or numb, to the coming crisis as the others. I poke and prod and scream like there's no tomorrow. But every time I wake from the dream or revelation, nothing's really changed. The trucks enlarge as the car approaches, with me anticipating. The other passengers frozen as the world. That is so cool. That really is. Okay, start reading to us some of the ones that you've
Some of
got
the
mentioned.
others, yeah. So this is it's a cute one at the beginning. And I'm going to just gloss it a little bit by telling you what sort of inspired it. Since the Iowa test in 3rd grade, I hated filling in
What
dots.
was the Iowa test?
It was the first standardized test back when I was 3rd grade, so that's 1960-something, 5 or whatever. You had to fill in dots for answering questions, and then they would figure
you out with that thing?
Yeah.
I think
it
I had
turned
it.
into MCATs and things like that later, or standard.
Yeah, it was like
you
a
know.
personality thing. I think.
No, it was knowledge of some kind or thinking or whatever, but the thing is, in 3rd grade you get these questions in a red booklet, Iowa test,
Yeah.
whatever in Iowa, and one was so ridiculous. I'm going to actually parse it even more since we're talking about it. That talked about Jane or Susie has to walk X number of blocks to school, and it had specific. We don't have blocks in Holden, Massachusetts. And and when I found out when I went home what a block was, they're all different sizes in rural or small town. They're not a city. It's not Philadelphia or New York where a block, and even in New York, blocks can be a 20th of a mile or a 1/6 of a mile. So you have to figure out how long it took her to walk to school. That was a stupid question. So ever since then, I try to not fill in dots.
I had that too, and I think one point, one of the questions was so ridiculous. I was only 11 maybe. I put down it was a really wise guy answer, something like, how the you know what would I know? Something like that. And I thought, good, let them figure me out.
And I can tell you all the stories of questions like that. And maybe there's value in those tests. I don't know.
It was ridiculous.
But I did realize then, so years later when they talked about cultural whatever, I'm going, yeah, cultural. Someone lives in a city and thinks that everyone in the country knows what their blocks are.
Yeah.
And the question, when I went back and forth to look at the booklet again, used the same booklet, overlaps
it was
some
a
questions.
bit of a math thing too.
Yeah, it was 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or 5 minutes. I wrote long. It depends on how long the block is and how fast she walks, you idiots.
That's what I did too. I would write a sentence, not just circle a word. I would say, wait a minute, I can't just give you a yes or no.
Right.
I have to give you. They must have thought we were absolutely wonderful, or they hated us.
And so other things I resist filling in dots, and including the census, I don't fill in the dots on the census anymore. So this is called, the other thing I'll parse with this one called prisoner manqué. The word manqué just means lost, like a love manqué is the one that got away. Prisoner manqué. And my last meal, I just thought I should say because I'm in New England, if I ever was on death row and had a last meal request, it's lobster from the Guncoat Lobster Pond or wherever. So that's in this too.
Yeah.
Prisoner manqué. What happened was, I got sick and tired of filling in dots on questionnaires, forms, and stupid tests. The world had been filling in thoughtless dots and refraining from new or actual thoughts for generations by that time, even the elected and the elite. This pastime passed for legislation, law and order, culture, mores, and respectable civilization. As you can imagine, I raged and railed and was sentenced to death for no named charge. Now, the tradition of the condemned being able to choose their last meal was older than this lackluster age, and so I looked forward to boiled lobster, rolls, slaw, and melted butter at last. But they couldn't just ask me, "What would you like for your last meal?" No. They asked me to fill out a form by filling in dots.
Yep.
So I exploded prematurely and sit here now, a puff of vapor, where all my plaints go equally unheard, except to physics and occasional readers of poetry like you.
Awesome. I mean, those doggone dots are a pain in the...
Imagine being on death row and they make you fill out dots
Yeah.
for your last meal.
Yeah, I didn't,
Choose one
do
of
they
these.
really do that?
No.
Oh.
No, this is all fantasy. And because it's like page 2, it's the second poem in the book, it kicks it into this world of poetry that's not of this world, but of this other liminal place, between world, or they're like Twilight Zone episodes a little bit
James,
sometimes.
if somebody would like to have you come and give a presentation, how can they reach you?
Best way is with my email, nicolajamesb@juno.com. That's NiColaJamesB@JUNO.
How far would you go? How far around? Just
I go from Maryland and Delaware to Maine and
you're in New
Pittsburgh.
York City.
I live in New York City, and I have a car. So if if winter, I don't want to go too far. I'll go south. But April till November, that whole triangle. I'm happy to go.
We're north from you, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, I hope it doesn't snow.
The driving was no, April will be fine, but the driving was treacherous for others more on Sunday when I came. I did an event in Worcester, but I was right behind a sander.
Oh, good.
Yeah, a friend of mine had a funeral in Worcester, came from Wayland, where I'm staying, and turned around.
What day did you have?
But Sunday. That was the
We
event.
we went to one on Saturday.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's just a sample of the fun type of poems. There's a Worcester sort of inspired. You know, Worcester is one of the cities on Seven Hills.
Mm-hmm.
This is the city of Seven Hills. It's on my page 25.
Yep.
So it's around your page 20. I mean, the page numbers aren't
There
too
is a
far
Seven
up.
Hills. In fact, there's an organization called the Seven Hills.
And there was the Seven Hills Plaza in Worcester, but two of the other cities that were built on Seven Hills are San Francisco and Rome,
Mm-hmm.
but one city known as Seattle destroyed one of the hills for their Space Needle when they had a World's Fair there or something. So there's one fewer hill in Seattle. So this imagines that the Seven Hills are the Seven Sisters,
Yep.
and the two volcanoes around there that steam and that explode might be their brothers, and as if they could respond. So
Yeah.
this is called City of Seven Hills. I hear a grumble in the night. I live in a district where there used to be a hill. There were 7, now there are 6. They raised her, the 7th, to make more city. The other 6 hills have been getting slipperier of late. In storms, there have been accidents. Maybe it's just drivers too sure of themselves navigating the ice, black ice, sleet, hail, and rain sloppily down the slopes. But miles away, one authentic brother, active every so often, smokes more, a good bit more than before. And I can feel that hill missing his sister when I hear grumbles in the night. I live and let live, even in the city. Other citizens don't, too cocksure of themselves. The steam from the volcano often stings my eyes, and then I see how sister hills yearn too to avenge the loss of one of theirs, how all the slippery accidents of late they have concocted, missing her.
Where, James, when you were growing up, who influenced you the most? You were very good at getting out there with the way you read it. Who inspired you?
Well, that was a good bit for the drama in my hometown, Holden, and from 6th grade, which was we called junior high when I was in 6th grade. Now they call it middle school or something like that. But they drafted 3 from my Holden Junior High and 3 from Mount View to be in the high school production of Oliver. So I was on stage at age, whatever 6th grade is.
What did you play?
One of Fagin's gang and one of the Workhouse Boys.
Yeah.
But we're hanging around the high school. It was great. But we got turned out, and then the guy who played Fagin went to Emerson and came back and founded the Holden Drama Guild. So he had workshops on Saturday, even when he was in college there, and of course I took them.
Yeah.
So I became a stage director as well as musical director and directed lots of plays and coached lots of actors and wrote a book, Playing the Audience, which is won a Choice Award by nonfiction.
And Stage to Page.
And Stage to Page is one of the poetry collections of poems from the theater. But I worked with actors so much that particularly when I saw a video of my first time on with you, I realized I have to work on that. There are with rhythm and pace and ease. I mean, I would be enamored of the richness of like Shakespeare text, but I go, you gotta convey the richness without letting them know, oh, this is rich.
Demonstrative.
So, demonstrative, but not letting anybody know. Same thing for an audience. Don't let them catch you acting.
Yeah.
So don't let them catch you selling this stuff. Unless you're in this thing, there is this new field called performance poetry, slam poetry, and whatnot, where you look like a performer selling it. That's a slightly different thing. Mine, there wants to be that lid, sort of like Baroque music, as opposed to romantic. A lid on. So I will make sure the image comes across, and I'll pause when there needs to be a pause, or breathe when the breath wants to happen to convey that image, or make sure the word gets across, but trying not to call attention to it.
Exactly. When my mother, Dad and Mom met at Emerson, and he was going into broadcasting, she was going into theater. And she knows that when she was in theater, she learned the audience should not be able to separate you from your part if you're that good. That it'd be hard to, like remember Yul Brynner in The King and I. I can't picture him. I've seen him in another movie, but to me, he'll always be the king. You see, it's just, I understood what she meant. If you can separate the actor from their part, but if you really like, oh my God, that's who he's doing.
Well, that's why they say even years ago, Meryl Streep was staying character even in the trailer since the 70s. But she's a nice person and all that stuff, so she's not going to do anything nasty to somebody if she's playing a role that's that's whatever. But staying in character, we used to. Yeah.
What's the name of the next book? We've been talking about Tower of Babel. What we've been talking. What's
the next one is called Natural Tendencies.
And it's going to take place in Massachusetts.
Well, it's going to be published in Massachusetts, right, by Cervena Barber Press, Cervena, to look them up. They're wonderful, wonderful poets in their catalog. And it should come out in a few months. Yeah. It'll be definitely 2023, maybe February.
That would be really cool.
So
how many in all have you written?
Have I written 2021 collections? I have 6 poetry collections out and 2 coming. So that would be I have 7 out and 2 coming. That'll be 9.
Said, how many books have you written?
And then the nonfiction one is Playing the Audience. So that's another one.
I remember Stage to Page. Really, I loved that.
That was one. That's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they are. You'll see on my website, which little by little I'm updating. Make sure if you look at the website, it cites Google Sites, but add the word view. The one that doesn't have the word view is the defunct one, and I got to see if I can write on the defunct one.
So how do they reach you again?
Well, the best way is to shoot me an email, Nicola James B. But if you go and look up my poetry titles or my name, I just did, you'll see those poetry books come up, and you'll be able to get to a website. But it'll take you first to the old website, which doesn't have the latest information.
Does your family appreciate how good you are at poetry?
You can ask them, invite them on. Just kidding, I can't answer for them.
Well, we could have the whole family.
But with my mom, who's passed away, I knew that if I gave a poem, particularly if it was a seemingly thick one, and she could stay with me, then I knew I had the poem.
You knew you had it.
Yeah, particularly, and sometimes there would be a particularly convoluted one. She'd have the last word, even if it didn't rhyme. She would know, and she would follow the logic of the poem and know what the point was.
She was supporting you.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And so, like the first one, Manhattan Plaza, as well as Playing the Audience, she heard the whole thing read to her out loud.
Yeah.
And or read back and stuff.
She was 90
invaluable for a writer to
She
hear
was 90 years young? How old was she?
94 when she passed away. Yes, the music, right.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Now, Pick another one.
Pick another one. I got a few that I've practiced. Oh, this one is called Mother.
Speaking
Hence, however, here, just so you know ahead of time, Mother is Mother Earth.
Okay.
Again, like the hills reacted and the volcano, the brothers, this is Mother Earth reacting to Mother. You can almost see it in the lines across her face. Her heart's been rent so often that I guess her mind's unsound. What with no mere brood of children, but the onset of a race whom she can't stop from wreaking havoc all around the place, the father being nowhere to be found. Last week she had to let a little fire out with the steam. The next day she exploded in a sudden wicked storm. Then yesterday was pent up in a rage and split a seam, the image of her children still reminding her of him. She's calm now, though for winter it seems warm. Will her children heed her temper? Will we listen by tomorrow? Will her love their father come back in time as planned? Will she drown in her tears an ocean rising with her sorrow? Or just explode, which I would understand?
Fantastic.
Mother Earth.
Oh gosh, did she hear that one? No, that was
Yes,
your
she's
mom
heard that
heard
one. Yeah, that's not a new poem. Yeah, these have all been
We've
published.
got
quite a
about
while
2
ago.
minutes left. Go for it.
Yeah. Near the end of the book, it's almost the second to last poem. It's another. It's a happier one, and it's right near the end. I think it's the second to the last one. Let's see, I'm going, called "Camping Out."
Camping out now.
Yeah. Now, you may have remembered as a kid if one of your parents put those decals on the ceiling that would be like that would glow in the dark, like and be stars.
No, I've seen them though.
You've seen them, yeah. I didn't have it either, but it's here it is. So that's a different father in this one.
All right.
But the bag is a sleeping bag and it's about sleeping outside.
Okay.
Camping out. With a start from the vastness of the night, I dove in my bag like a star-struck loon, then sneaked to peek and saw the moon reach down with fingers made of light, and that someone had stuck on the darkened dome decals that glowed to remind me that there was more to the night than the cowering height of a lonely sky, and that I was home, tucked in and safe, with a handy monitor hooked up to an intercom. But I didn't know whether it was on, and if a screen would make him come. Yet, as I had that thought or dream, I thought I saw the Moon Man smile. So in the end, I did not scream, but watched the patterns glow a while.
There he is, our very own James Nicola. James, this has been great to have you back.
My
and
pleasure,
drive
James.
safe. It's pitch dark out there.
No, I go slow. I go slower than, and it's not really icy or anything like that.
No,
It's just dark.
just take it. Are you going
yeah.
back to Connecticut or back to New York
Back to
City?
Connecticut tonight.
You're going
and
to
then
Connecticut,
New
yeah.
York
Your brother's
tomorrow.
fine.
Right, yeah.
He's doing good.
Yeah.
We'll have him back. Don't worry. He's got 2 more coming. He's got these coming out, so we'll get you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Jan, so
Good.
much, and happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.